Okay, that's it. It's begun.
Are we recording?
This is live.
Distracted.
Should we turn off the movie?
Perfect.
Let's turn that off so we're not distracted, so we can stare into each other.
I'm easily distracted.
How easily?
Especially by great cinema.
As Martin Scorsese would call The Godfather Part 2, it ain't cinema.
It's a mob film. Of course he'd call it cinema.
Scorsese's just taking shots at everyone now. He's
Yeah.
like, that ain't cinema.
Marvel? No.
Marvel? The Godfather? That ain't cinema either. See, you've seen now. I turned off my TV, and now it's turned itself back on.
It knows. It heard you say cinema, and it's like voice activated.
It's like, huh?
It's
What?
like Troy wants to watch movies.
You want to watch? Do you still want to watch me, or do you want me to turn off? It's like I turned the off button. I don't know what it is. Every time I turn my TV off, I got to turn it off again. What's up with that?
That is strange.
Do you think it's like listening to me?
It could be.
This has a microphone in it. This remote control.
See, I would not be surprised. I know for a fact when I turn my Xbox off, it's actually not off. It doesn't actually turn off for like another 4 to 5 minutes. So you can just like instantly reboot it up. It's like doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's still ready to rock and roll. It's like, yeah, I know you told me to turn off. It's like, but I still got like some things I need to do.
But I kind of just do what I want, you know?
Yeah. So it's like,
Friggin' Xbox.
so, if you need me in the next 5 minutes,
If you
I'm
need-
here.
I will be here,
I won't need to reboot up again.
and I don't need to reboot, and I will be listening and watching.
And if you say turn on, I will turn on. So maybe your TV's doing the same thing.
And if you want to play Apex at the drop of a hat, you let me know. He's like a needy friend. He's like a needy friend that can't let go. You're like, okay, and I'll be there. And it's like, I know. Okay, thanks, Xbox. Dude, when are you going to get the new one?
I don't know, man. It's like, what's the point? What new game do I need to play on the new system? Yeah. I'm a grown man. I ain't got time for every new release.
No, you don't.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe when I have a job and I'm rich, I'll buy the new Xbox. Maybe when they fix Cyberpunk 2077. I hear that game is supposed to be real good for the new consoles.
Yeah.
That might be the big ticket. But I'm a simple man. I play one game now.
What's the game?
I just play Apex.
Should I just face the corner like this while you talk at me? What else, Lyndon?
That is an interesting move.
Just kidding.
It's a little easier for us.
I can move around.
Hey, the listeners should know. Because we've kind of been directionless so far in the first 3.5 minutes.
We got no direction.
What are we doing here? I'll tell you what we're doing. Troy and Lyndon are hanging out.
Yeah.
A regular old-fashioned hang sesh.
This really has been a hang sesh. We did some exercise together. We some old man exercising.
I broke a sweat. It worked.
Yeah.
I had like my sweat jacket on.
You were. We walked around the mall. For those who are wondering, we took 5 laps around the mall. It was about 5 kilometers around Chinook Mall. For those in the Calgary area, you will know that is quite a distance. A full circle around, that's 1 kilometer.
Yeah.
So we are basically marathon runners, and
Like, would I say we're athletes?
yes, you would. Yeah.
We were mall athletes. How many people passed us?
0.
0. How many people did we pass?
10, 100,
Hundreds.
1,000.
And we had to pull some maneuvers.
Yeah.
Like, we get pretty good at the the split.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like a diagonal shift to like hit a gap.
Yeah.
Sometimes when a child comes into the wrong lane, I bump him out with my knee.
You give them a little check.
Where I was like, check yourself, kid.
Hey, kid.
Stay in your lane.
You picked the wrong day, and then you put your big Blundstone boots in their face, and we're moving so quick that like no one can catch us. So
Security can't even find us.
They're like, they're just like, what just happened? All we saw was that there was a blur, and then a baby was on the ground unconscious.
And they're like, the baby did step into the wrong lane.
Yeah, they're like that baby, it was in the wrong. And it deserved everything.
So there's nothing to investigate anymore.
Yeah, and they're like, Yeah, when they're being interviewed on TV, they're like, "What did you see?" They're like, "All I saw was two alphas, gush stepping around the mall, and getting their sweat on,
Yeah. Some real COVID exercise.
stomping around alpha style,
Yeah.
passing people, Captain America style."
Sometimes I had to get those elbows swinging.
I saw you. Yeah, you took a long way around once, and I was like, "Where'd he go?" Sure enough, there you were.
Oh, yeah. You got a beautiful lane to pass this like family of 6.
Yeah, I slipped right in there.
And I was like, I got to take the long way around.
Yeah. And you sprinted around them as hard and as fast as you could.
And it was like, I got to get some upper body momentum going here.
You needed this to swing yourself around them, like gravitational.
Like Armageddon, like,
energy.
Slingshotting around the moon.
Yes, exactly.
I had to slingshot around that family.
Yeah.
Pick
And
up a little extra speed.
they thanked you for it. They're like, "Thank you for not bulldozing us to the ground."
I could have.
You freaking could have, dude. I wonder how many people you could fight. How many do you think you could win how many people? What am I trying to say?
It's like, would you rather fight a horse-sized duck
Or a duck-sized
or 100 duck-sized horses?
100. I would. Well, the question I was going to ask is like, do you think you could win most fights with people?
Like the average person in the mall.
Average person.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think you have one punch power?
But to do what?
Knock them out.
Some people, I assume.
To do what?
Like one punch to end a fight?
One,
yeah. Like,
one punch to put a hole through a piece of drywall. I don't know.
like,
Of course, to win the fight.
like some random guy in the mall.
Yeah.
If I punched him one time, I think he probably wouldn't want to fight me anymore. If some guy punched me one time, I probably wouldn't want to fight him anymore.
True.
I'd be like, oh my gosh, this guy's punched me.
This is a real fight.
I was like, I don't need to be involved with this.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a fight? We got off to a weird start.
I once got into a fight in the 6th grade.
Okay.
Some kid was having a bad day. I asked him a question.
I made it worse.
He shoved his desk into me, and I was like, oh.
Oh.
And then he attacked me, and then we had a tussle.
Then.
We like rolled around. There was no teacher.
Yeah.
I don't know how this happened. There was no adult supervision. And so we like rolled around.
I thought you were homeschooled.
This was my first year of not being homeschooled. I could write a memoir called Lyndon's Transition into like Society.
Gen Pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuz I was wild. Like I went from like a child that ran his own schedule
Yeah.
to like now you need to like behave at school. And it's not like I was disobedient.
No.
I just was feral.
You just wanted to do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Whenever you wanted to do it. You're like, okay, when's the trampoline time though?
Yeah.
They're like, this is school. There's no trampoline.
When's tramp time? It's like I get to go up and jump on the trampoline whenever I want in homeschool, which is 6 hours a day.
Hours at a time. Like, no. You have to sit in a desk and kind of just sit here.
And they're like, it's time to go out for recess. And then it's like, now the bell's rung and it's time to go back in. And it's like, why?
What? Yeah.
When does a bell tell me when I'm done playing?
And then you punch the bell.
Yeah.
It's like, ding.
And then I throw a snowball and I get like in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Jeez. Middle school was like friggin' Nazi Germany.
Yeah, you should be fired from whatever you're a part of now. Speaking of which, do we have nothing else to talk about before that?
Transition. You ever been in a fight? You think you could fight someone? To middle school, when you're a formerly homeschooled child, going to middle school is like Nazi Germany. Which I shouldn't say, because that's how you lose your job.
With Disney. Did you hear about that?
Oh, boy, did I hear about that.
Cara Dune. That's right.
Gina Carano.
This is an episode of Star Wars Talk.
We tricked you. Normally we get right into Star Wars and talk about Star Wars for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Instead, we did inane chatter.
Inane chatter. It's like, have we not done this in a while? I guess like the last time we had a guest and he sort of like drove our
Yeah, he
direction.
friggin' dominated the show.
He dominated. What did he think he was doing?
I had to yell from 30 feet across the room to get a word in edgewise.
He was like, talk, 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 and you're like,
It was
hey.
it was like he comes on the show and it's like me.
I'm
Let me
leaving
tell-
the church.
Let me tell my story. And it's like,
Oh.
whose friggin' podcast do you think this is,
And you're
Alex?
like, hey, shut up, Alex.
Getting real sick of you telling your story.
It's my turn to talk now. I'm in charge. We're all just like looking at you. He's like, so anyway, I've never believed in God ever. And I'm like, oh. It's like, I cried in my kitchen when Tom DeLynn, what's his name?
John.
John DeLynn. I was going
When
to
John DeLynn killed your testimony,
say, yeah.
made you cry.
Made me cry. And then I got it back, and it's 10 times as strong as it ever was.
Good.
Yeah.
Back to Star Wars.
I kind of like ripping Alex apart. Well,
It's good when he's not here.
he's not here to defend himself at all. I think we did. You were asking me about emails. I think we did.
We got some.
I do have some feedback anyway.
Well, one message I did get from a true and faithful listener was, "Oh my gosh, can you believe Gina Carano? Talk about that, please."
yeah.
So yeah, we will talk about Gina Carano.
We're going to talk about old Genie.
Cara Dune.
Old Caradu.
Well, we're going to talk about it's Star Wars related, so it will be discussed.
It will be discussed. And
Troy's wearing a Star Wars t-shirt.
I am. I counted not that long ago. Guess how many Star Wars shirts I have?
Scanning through my memory bank, I think at least 7.
More than that.
Oh, I was going to say 6 to 7 are the ones that I can think of.
Those are the ones maybe on regular rotation, but I have like 30. I think I have 25 to 30 Star Wars shirts.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Some might say too many.
I think 30 Star Wars t-shirts is too many because I think 30 t-shirts is getting close
I
to
got
too
a lot
many.
of t-shirts. And I was supposed to do laundry. That was one of my plans for the evening. I may still get that done. It's only 8:30. I'm supposed to not do laundry past 10 o'clock.
Them's the rules.
And that's the rule I abide by living in this place. And it's basically Nazi Germany here.
Yeah.
I basically...
Yeah, it's like you do laundry past 10 and some jackboot stormtroopers are at your door.
We got to be careful, Lyndon, because...
Is it not a joke? I thought comparing things to Nazi Germany was like a kind of like a cliche.
Kind of a funny joke.
Like it's just like, yeah, this place is like Nazi Germany.
Kind of a funny little gag.
Like, yeah. Because obviously it's not.
It's not. It's very serious. Because it's like we're doing the thing that this woman got, like, her career was completely ruined for it. You know what, though?
Well, actually, I heard this is not what got her fired.
I think you're right. I think this was the excuse they needed
to go public.
To go public and to just finally do what they've been wanting to do for a while. But we'll get to...
Let's jump back and forth on that, please.
Okay.
Let's not focus in on it quite yet.
Okay. So we got an
Emails.
email from Alex Williams here. He's like, wow, great episode. No, he said, wow, that guest, amazing. So he does make that joke.
Okay.
The joke that I just made. He's making it here. He says, wow, that guest, amazing. So true and faithful. And then he says, he sure did talk a lot, didn't he?
Hey, that's what I was saying.
And he said that he should have let Lyndon talk a little more. Am I right?
I don't think that's in the email.
He did not say that, but he
should
did.
have.
He should have.
You should have said Lyndon didn't get enough airtime.
He did say, I got a message within 30 minutes of recording. Word spreads fast. Yeah, it's because we have the greatest mission stories related and Star Wars podcast of all time. Do you think that, like, in our very specific niche of like Mormon stuff and Star Wars talk, that we're like number one? Do you think?
The number one Mormon Star Wars podcast. We got to be pretty close.
Yeah. So anyway, he says the word spreads fast, and obviously it would have. And he says, thanks again for having me on, guys. A good time as always. Yeah, I'm glad one of us thinks that. Am I right?
Yeah.
True and faithful, Alex. Yeah, thanks, Alex.
True and faithful to this podcast, but not his own religion.
Dude, yeah, I got some feedback from that.
Oh yeah, well, I got an earful.
From who?
Oh,
Or
from
can you say? Maybe you can't
true and
say.
faithful Cheryl Naglis.
Right, your mom.
Well, I mean, we recorded that episode and then we had like a little family bonfire
Okay.
because the government was like, "Hey, you can now have outdoor gatherings."
Yeah.
So the fam jam had a fire,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of like a big deal because we hadn't had a guest on in 10 years,
Bit about that, yeah.
and it was also Mormon Stories YYC, where we're now hosting people coming out why they've left the church.
Yeah.
So my mom is like, "Excuse me, we're not hearing the full story from this gentleman." I was like, "Oh, you know we're not.
What do you mean?
He's only telling us what we want to hear." I have no idea.
Well,
So she was ready. She's ready to come on the podcast and give a
yo, get her on
and
here.
tell us why she's still in the church.
Oh, I would love to hear that. I would honestly like to hear that. I'll tell you something. I saw this, and maybe you saw this, and I don't mean to cut you off there. What were you going to say?
Well, then also Braden was like, "Get me back on the podcast."
Bring him back.
It was like
on.
they saw that we're open to guests,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Get me on."
Well, yeah, another former guest. Everyone who has been a guest wanted to come back on the podcast. What was I going to say? Oh, there was a guy. I don't remember his name. I think he used to be like an institute teacher years ago. Former alumni of the podcast, Cindy Russell, I think, was a big fan of this. This person years ago, early 20s kind of a thing, right? Soon after the mission, there was a guy who came and gave a fireside about about people leaving the church and why are they leaving and the different reasons why. And so I went to this thing. And it's funny because a lot of the things they were saying kind of were going over my head a little bit because at the time I was still like, yeah, like everything's on the level, right? Like, what are we talking about here? And this,
Like, the real question is, why hasn't everyone joined the church?
yeah, and he's like, somebody asked me he had one of these deep, resonant voices. He's like, somebody once asked me, "John, with all that you know, why are you still in the church?" And I said to them, "It is a church of sufficiency." He's like, "It's good enough."
Love to hear it.
And and that was maybe the start of my journey into like, what is he talking about? Good enough. It's all true. But, obviously there's more to the story, and that's what he was referring to. But yeah, so that just kind of made me think of that. But whenever I hear like someone who's been in the church, I guess this is the point. Whenever I hear someone who's been in the church for like a long time and they know all the stuff, I love to know like what keeps you in the true and faithful. What keeps you on the old ship faithful or whatever, bountiful or whatever they say.
I don't know. What does it for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I would love to speak with Cheryl about that, and I feel like maybe I don't know, maybe you quarterback that. Maybe I'm sitting on the sidelines and I'm like, hey, listen to me.
Well, I mean, if we want to get a preview, here's the thing: you like kind of prepper stuff,
Yeah.
and like Millennium, what's it called? Adventists.
Yeah.
Adventism.
Like preparing for the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's pretty on that right now. She's having like night visions about things she needs to do to prepare for the second coming. And I think you and her could bond over that.
I think we just did.
So
Yeah.
I think you guys could have a good chat about that. This is like a little teaser.
Yeah.
It's like, is Cheryl Nagel's going to come on and
Tell
us about the second coming and
making her own bullets.
yeah.
Putting the bullets in her own casings.
Yeah.
Did your mom shoot guns?
You know what? You can ask her that.
I'd love to know that.
I'm sure she'll answer that.
I bet she does. She's shot a gun before.
Oh yeah.
I'll put $100 million on that.
I'll short that. We got to talk about that.
That's right. We got to talk about GME.
Okay, so yeah, thanks Alex Williams for your email because you want to dominate this podcast's time even more. He's gonna like trademark mission stories. He's gonna like just buy us out one day.
I hope he does.
And we're gonna be a part of his podcast network.
His podcast. You know what? He's going
gonna
places.
hand like scripts to us.
Are you mad that he hasn't asked us to be on Broken Bulbs? Because
No.
I am.
I don't have broken bulbs. My bulbs are just bright.
My bulbs all shine really brightly. I don't know what I just try.
No creative endeavor I've ever gone on has failed.
So I couldn't really
So I couldn't really
much.
contribute to that podcast.
I couldn't really like say much about that. I could say like if there was a podcast called Bright Bulbs That Never Die Out.
The bulb that shines brightly through the darkness. Maybe I'll start that.
That is a podcast I would have a lot to talk about on.
Yeah.
But failure, no.
Creative failures, no.
No.
I can't contribute everywhere.
I could, yeah. And maybe that's my only failure, is that I have no failures. And that's the greatest failure of all. What was I going to say? Okay, so Braden wants to come on. What does he want to, does he want to just sort of trash the church, or what's his...
Hard to say.
What's his, because he was, he left kind of shortly after being on the podcast.
I think he was already out by then.
He was out by then, yeah.
He just didn't want to. He's not all about airing everything.
Well, I think...
Like Cheryl always says, we don't hear the full story.
Yeah, we never hear the full thing.
People are always pulling their punches.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Didn't he just strictly tell mission stories?
We talked about like how hard... Well, we talked about like the difficulty of coming home from a mission early and all of that.
Yeah, he stayed on point. He had a purpose on his first visit. Don't know what his purpose would be on another visit.
And that's what I'm interested in. I want to know what a freewheeling Braden looks like. And I think maybe he's finally forgiven me for roasting him at your wedding.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe he has.
Oh, yeah, because we need a hatchet burying.
Yeah.
I tried to get all of us to go out shooting.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if there's ever a time for one man to forgive another man, it's when they both have a firearm in their hands.
Yeah. And there's animosity between them.
That's the only time true forgiveness can happen.
That's when you know you've been forgiven, when someone doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
And they could.
Out in the wilderness on Crown land.
On a highly high traffic shooting range on Crown land.
Yeah.
Dump me in that little like wire garbage that's to the left there.
We just go a couple of 100 yards into the woods and it's like you're in no man's land.
It's like you're in Vietnam.
And the trees are talking.
Trees are talking. What's that? Oh, we're dead. So that's okay.
So that didn't work out.
No.
I really want to go shoot.
What was the thing that I'm trying to remember the reason why.
The reason why he hates you?
No, I know that reason. I made a funny joke at his expense.
Yeah.
And it's not even that bad of a joke, and it's fine, and he's forgiven me, and it's all fine.
So yeah, basically my family members are.
I let him roast me. That's what we do.
Yeah.
You help him write some jokes, unless he's perfectly capable of writing his own roast jokes, and then, I mean, you know enough dirt about me.
Well, as we know from that wedding speech, all the best jokes that landed were written by me.
No. I refuse to acknowledge that. I will go back and look at the tape, and I will go through, and I will say what ones did not land. And I wrote those ones, and you wrote all the good ones. No, there was some... You were surprised. There's a few surprises for you. Jokes you hadn't heard before, maybe, or unless I told you all the jokes.
The only joke that I hadn't heard was Braden's. That's the only one you went off script. That's the only one that wasn't moderated.
I swear I asked you though, and you're like, "Go for it." I was like, "What do you think? Should I,
Oh yeah, you were like, "Can I roast your siblings?" And I was like, "Yeah."
You're like, "Do it." And
they're like, they're fine with it.
Yeah.
Or at least, if I remember correct, I don't even know why we're talking about this still.
Yeah.
It was like Megan and Caitlin were like, yes, I agree with this roast. And then like the fact that you
I
barely
grazed.
barely said anything about Megan was actually like the greatest roast you could do for her.
Good.
Like it actually slayed her that you're like, there's nothing to say about Megan.
Well,
She was like
what did I
crushed to her
say?
core.
I don't even remember what I said.
You said nothing. You're like, she's the mother of these children.
She's
Aren't
a
they lovely?
mom. What am I supposed to say about that?
I gave you material. You're supposed to like make fun of her love of the dark web or something. It's like when she's not raising her sons.
I don't even remember.
She's
you
cruising the
saying
dark
that.
web.
She's a pedophile.
She's cruising the dark web for deals on black tar heroin.
She's watching snuff films on the dark web. I can't say that. I can't say that about your sister.
Well, not the snuff films, but yeah, like maybe she's like
A light allusion to it. I get it. I honestly don't even
you
remember.
just reference the dark web,
I
because
don't
then
e-
people
I
are
don't
like,
even
"Oh my
remember that.
gosh, is Megan mysterious?
I don't even remember.
What's she
that.
up to?"
Listen, to all the Naglis family, I am truly sorry, and it's not my fault. It's Lyndon's fault.
Bold take.
I
They already know the truth.
that you're the puppet master here.
Yeah.
You're pulling the strings. I'm
Yeah.
a puppet. I'm just a little guy on strings.
He's my little marionette.
I'm a marionette.
And when I say dance, Troy, he dances.
I freaking dance.
When I say clap, he claps.
I clap.
When I say tell bad jokes so the people hate you, he falls on that sword.
I tell bad jokes so your whole family hates me, and I don't. I wish I couldn't. I wish I could stop myself, but I had to do it. So
I'll never cut the strings.
you never will. So, and I hope that you never do.
But yeah, so my family.
They love me. So
They want it. And then did I already bring up Jace?
not yet. Well, maybe.
Okay. Well, oh yeah.
He
So
worked
the other
out,
message, the other feedback
Yeah.
from the true and faithful, Jace really wanted us to talk about
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune. Thank you.
We will. We have to still talk about the rest of the fallout from
The last
episode with Alex, though.
Right, because you got a lot of people
Yeah.
reaching out to you.
I had at least, it was crazy because it was like everyone, and I won't name names here, but like it was a lot of people that we know who are like, yeah, I'm also out of the church. I'm also done. We've been done for a while.
But they listen to our podcast.
Yeah, this is.
Oh no. We are those people.
Ow.
We're a harbor for apostates.
You know what? True and faithful. Maybe this is.
We've already covered this. We're a harbor for everyone.
We're a safe harbor. It's not like we're telling the rejects to leave, the people whose testimonies are all mangled up.
We're always saying, "Hey, come back.
hey, come on back. Church
Come
is
back to
fine.
the church."
The water's fine.
The church is great. It's also sufficient."
It's also annoying sometimes. Oh, careful.
Just ripping this mic apart. Yeah, we're a safe harbor for all.
So yeah, I got a lot of like, hey, I'm also out of the church. Kind of like it was a juicy podcast, and a lot of juicy like little fun things messages came my way.
That's what I was curious, because I was like, are these people just like reaching out? They don't want to come on the podcast and tell their story.
Not necessarily. They were
just
like,
want to be like, hey, nice to hear that.
yeah, it was like they liked the podcast, they liked the content, it was like it's the kind of thing probably people are more interested in than Star Wars talk, or
Right.
some anyway. There's a fraction of our audience who's more interested in the apostasy of members than in Cara Dune's apostasy from
Disney
and Star Wars. But yeah, I had a close friend. I feel like maybe she wouldn't mind me telling the circumstances of this, if not telling people her name. But she listened, and she was quite like, I don't know, upset by what he was saying, what Alex was saying. She thought there was something like her whole vibe was like, suck it up, Buttercup. Hey, we all feel that way, and we're still in the church. We're still sucking it up. And you know what? Sometimes that's what you got to do. And I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you think believing in anything is a prerequisite to being a member of the church? Get out of here with that attitude.
Yeah, I was sort of like, a lot of people have a lot of experiences, and they only can they can only deal with the experiences that they have. Like, I don't really know what to tell you.
You're like, do you want Alex's email?
Do you want to?
I'll give you his address.
Do you want us to roast him as hard as we can on the next episode? Because
we will. We were planning on it.
We can't stop ourselves from doing that anyway.
Our most respected guest.
Our most loyal, truly our most loyal listener, one of them. And we shred him every chance we get. And he, I don't know what the listens are. I've stopped tracking the listens.
You know what? It's fine.
And maybe that's good.
Because if it's gone down, I'll be disappointed. If it's going up, I'll be disappointed.
Why?
If it's the same, I'll be disappointed.
Well, in that case, we might as well know then. Yeah, it's 159 listens. It's quite a few.
Par for the course? Or is that's an increase?
That's higher. That's quite a bit
increase.
higher.
Good work, Alex.
Star Wars Talk from October 31st only has 77. Yikes. Either way.
Is that the one we separated out?
It's funny because
really, those are all bonus listens.
Yeah.
Advertisers, get at us.
Because that one, we split it up into Save the Turtles and Star Wars Talk. And we literally just like split our audience into two factions of like, here for mission stories, here for Star Wars Talk. So,
like that's one my parents would have steered clear of.
The Star Wars Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, thank goodness this is separated out so we can avoid it.
Thank the maker. Yeah. I need a good oil bath. So yeah, she was a little peeved about that.
So she's a little peeved. Yeah. Well, get her on the podcast.
She'd be a good guest, actually.
Because there's my concern. I was like, oh my gosh, we're now Mormon Stories YYC. And I was like, do I just lean into it? Is this who we are now? I don't think that's what I want.
It's a piece of who we are, but it's not, we're not trying to profit.
We're a mosaic.
We're a mosaic. We talk about Star Wars. We talk about...
Yeah, and then I was worried. I was like, now we got to get Cheryl on the podcast because we got to get someone to bear their testimony on the podcast.
We need to bring the spirit.
Because we have to have balance in all things.
Yeah.
We're not the Sith.
All things in moderation.
Temperance,
patience. It's
a safe harbor for everyone.
Brotherly kindness.
Alex made our harbor a little stormy for faithful members of the church.
Well, it was exciting though. It was exciting.
That's a baseless accusation. I just want to stir up drama.
Yeah, and that's what we're all about here. So what else so that's kind of it with him, I suppose. I don't even know if we want to tell this particular little story that happened right after the podcast, but maybe we shouldn't.
No.
Maybe we'll tell.
What happens off record is off record for a reason.
Okay. I just want to say like sort of the vague brushstrokes of it though, which was no, okay. I guessed something that was very improbable for me to guess. And it made me believe in God 100 times more.
It's very strange things that strengthen your testimony.
Or Satan, yeah.
Yeah, because I told Jasmine, shout out to Jasmine, it's her birthday tomorrow.
Hey, happy birthday, Jazz.
Happy birthday, Jazzy Jean. Don't call her Jazzy Jean, she doesn't like that.
And you call her that.
I can call her that because she loves me.
Okay.
She doesn't like it.
I thought you were going to say she doesn't like you, and you can't call her that.
Because she loves me, I can call her that sometimes.
Jazzy Jean. Why not? What's wrong with Jazzy Jean?
She doesn't like it.
Just doesn't like it. Okay.
Her name's Jasmine.
Yeah. Okay. So what were you... So you told her about that. I
told her about the off-record stuff.
Yeah.
She hated it.
Why?
She did not appreciate it.
Just the whole exercise.
Oh, yeah.
That's fair.
And the fact that you loved it and it strengthened your testimony, hated it.
Well, I don't know.
So if Jasmine hates it, we'll just leave it alone.
I just didn't know what to think of it, really. I don't know if it strengthened or weakened anything. It was just like, what's the takeaway? Maybe nothing. Let's move on. So I can, take me to the fair, though. Take me to the circus, and I'll guess your weight or whatever.
Yeah.
So do that. Take me to Vegas.
A broke clock's right twice a day, I always say.
Yeah. And in this case, I'm the broken clock. I'm a broken thing.
Alex Williams was the broken clock.
True. His testimony completely in shatters. Tatters? Okay. So...
Why not both?
That's that. What's next? We have to talk about GameStop, I suppose, and we have to talk about Cara Dune.
Yeah. Topical topics from the world.
GameStop, I feel like we can kind of get through it. I don't know.
You're a finance major. I'm an econ major. We have to talk about it. We've demonstrated in the past our great grasp
Expertise
of all things financial.
Yo,
And,
we're friggin' smart.
yeah,
And you were just telling me about math in the mall.
I was.
What were you saying about fractions?
Well, it's you got to multiply it by the inverse when
Yeah.
you divide by a fraction.
Yeah. So
I was teaching you that math lesson.
And I learned it instantly because I already knew it because we're geniuses. So GameStop, do you know what a short squeeze is?
Yes.
Good, because I
Mostly.
don't. No, I do. Yeah, so some big Wall Street boys, I wonder if the church had a position in GameStop.
See, that's a great question.
What do you think? Do you think they did?
I am doubtful. But here's the thing. You could have the entire gang of Wall Street bets on Reddit try to short squeeze the church.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even break a sweat.
Yeah, the church would be like, fine, we'll just cover the bet,
Yeah, we'll cover it.
Freaking cover that with your tithing.
Yeah. That was actually when my family around the fire was talking about the podcast again.
Yeah.
They're always like, and that tithing episode. My dad to this day always likes to be like, 100 billion is nothing.
It's not nothing.
He always says 100 billion is nothing. He's just like,
dude, old guys love to do that. Every old guy I've talked to about this, they're like, oh my gosh, like someone else's dad I was talking to, and I was just like, I was using the 7% return as like a, average 7% return on a, like a base sort of an ETF, the index fund is sort of on average 7% return. It's like 7%. You'd be lucky to get 7%. That's not the kind of numbers you can throw around. You don't even know what you're talking about. I go home, I Google it. It's like, it is 7%.
yeah,
That's average 7%.
yeah.
I was so mad about that, but
No.
anyway, now
Well,
your
my-
dad's telling me.
Well, my dad was upset because he's like, because we're like, with that 7% on 100 billion, the church could pay for its annual budget,
Right, yeah.
But he's like, those are not liquid assets. You just can't.
they are. They're stocks. They're the definition of liquid.
They're not the definition of liquid. They're like,
Sure they are.
no, cash is the definition of liquid.
Well, yeah, cash and cash equivalents, aka stocks and bonds, bro. Take a finance course.
They're fairly liquid.
That's not a house. It's not it's not real estate. Although the church does have a lot of that too.
Yeah. I know. They're like, 100 billion's nothing. I was like, 100 billion would
People
be like
are gonna freak
the
out at me.
fifth largest hedge fund in the world. Or it's like it would be in the top.
Whenever we talk about finance, people get so upset.
They're like, these guys know nothing. And I was like, we know something.
We know enough to make you mad.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Where it's like, we're not ignorant, but we're also not experts.
Hell no, we're not experts. But
yeah, so that's
that's a good tagline, by the way. If we're gonna start a podcast about finance, we're like, we know enough to make you mad.
We're not ignorant, but we're not experts.
Not ignorant, not experts.
But anyways, yeah. So that still makes people upset. So that's good.
Listen, I'm sorry
Don't apologize.
that we're ahead of the curve.
Thank you.
Let me finish.
Thank you for reversing that apology. You're like, psych.
I'm sorry you feel that way. My dad's the master of those. He's so good at not apologizing. Like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Just kidding. Love you, Dad, but you are good at that.
We were actually going somewhere.
GameStop. GameStop was a stock.
Is a failing brick and mortar retail store.
Right. That's what we were saying. So the big Wall Street boys, they were going to short the stock. They were going to say we think this is going down, which they
were right.
Eventually they were right.
But the problem,
it has gone down. I don't know what it is now, but it's gone down.
Well, after they handcuffed the retail investors, but
yeah.
Here's my big problem with it is GameStop has 50 million shares, but they shorted 270 million shares. And that's this thing that drives me insane is how like these hedge funds have been destroying companies by shorting them.
Yeah.
Because they flood the market with 270 shares of this company, which drives the stock down and kills a company.
Yeah.
So these hedge funds can just destroy companies for their own profit. And when retail investors fight back, everyone's like, oh, no, shut down the apps. Don't let them trade anymore.
Well, I think I heard about
When the fact that they could short more shares than actually exists is like, it doesn't even make sense to me.
Well, I think
Besides, I know it could like make them so much money because they can just drive the price down so hard by flooding the market with more shares than even exist.
Well, it's the
But
classic,
also now they have infinite loss. And now they're like, we need to regulate. And I was like, the hedge funds are criminals.
I mean, yeah.
Power to the retail investor.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole narrative. Down with the big boys. They're criminals.
Some of them are going to have to sell their yachts.
Someone needs to defend these men. And it should be me. No, but I will say...
this podcast brought to you by Sun Life Financial.
Yeah. What's Buffett's thing called?
Berkshire
Hathaway.
Hathaway.
Brought to you by Berkshire. Dude, I wish it was brought to you by Berkshire Hathaway.
We're like, everyone go home and sell your GameStop.
Please, don't hold the line.
Don't hold that stock anymore.
Sell it. Drive the price down, down, down. So the reason, though, that I heard that Robinhood had to stop. Robinhood and another app, I think, they stopped trading of GameStop,
Nokia,
AMC, these sort of like these failing companies that they're artificially boosting up. But apparently part of it had to do with the reason, and experts out there, please correct me if I'm wrong. Like the clearinghouse couldn't cover the amount of like stocks that were being purchased. Like it was the clearinghouse aspect of it, like where they couldn't cover the funds necessary. The look you're giving me.
Couldn't or wouldn't.
Wouldn't. I don't know. Like there's something like their credit was just getting overdrawn to the point of like, I don't know. It was something like that. Some issue with the clearinghouse.
Yeah, I know. Like the apps were like, we are servants to the clearinghouse.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But down with the clearinghouses, I say then.
Get rid of the clearinghouses, dude. That's your answer. And I'll be 100% honest. I don't quite know exactly what the clearinghouse does, and that's where I am an idiot. And I shouldn't be talking about this.
I mean, I kind of knew how, like, banks have to, like, clear. I don't know.
It's the actual...
It's like where the
transaction takes place. See, we got there.
Yeah, see, we're not ignorant.
We're freaking geniuses.
We know what a clearinghouse does.
What else was I going to say?
First of all, and if anyone's like, come on, you guys, I always answer with, hey, it's all fugazi.
It's a fugazi.
It's fairy dust.
Fairy dust.
None of it's real. So it's like,
they're going to try to get their stock out of the market, but then it becomes real. So then you got to put it back into the market.
It's a circle. A Ferris wheel.
It's a circle.
Just keep him on the Ferris wheel.
Lincoln.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, you don't know how it works. It's like, it doesn't work. It's all made up.
Yeah.
Nothing in it is real.
It does. Does it kind of scare you, like, the behaviors of the market? Like, the market has not truly reflected the state of the world since, like, and who knows how long before this was actually the case, but, like, when the pandemic hit and the world economy went into the toilet, and it's like the market took a hit, but then it, like, climbed way back up. And it's like the stock market, people were seeing like these massive gains on their portfolios in 2020 where it's like, there's no, like, this isn't the reality of the world. Like, we're not pricing in the actual economic shortfalls that the world is being hit with right now. And it just kind of exposed the, like, it's like, well, what is the stock market? It truly is. It no longer seems to be about the fundamentals. It's all about...
It's not about the value of a company. It's like someone was like, hey, Peloton, whatever. It's like an exercise bike company for rich people.
Yeah.
Their market cap is the same as Ford Motor Company. And everyone's like, does that make sense? And I was like, why not?
What do you mean, why not? Same with, like, Tesla, I guess. They're really... Like apparently Tesla is like, when you look at all of the numbers and everything, like they're not, I don't even know if they are profitable. They may not be profitable, but
Well, I heard
the stock is
Tesla
through the roof. Right?
only like stays afloat because of government subsidies.
Right.
And if like government subsidies went away, that's why it's like the guy that did The Big Short has started shorting Tesla because he thinks their government subsidies are going to go away.
Right.
And then it's going to be revealed that they're not a profitable company.
Well, I don't think, I remember like seeing something where it was talking about how, because Michael Burry, that guy who did the, shorted the housing market in 2008, he did put out some tweet that was just like, I'm shorting Tesla, but I don't think it's like going all the way down. I just think that the price will drop. I think that like there will be sort of a correction, a market correction to a lower price. Not to say that the company is fundamentally valueless, because obviously I think it is the way of the future. Everyone's leaning into the electricity and to the green.
Yeah, I guess there was a big Super Bowl ad from GM about how they're going like all electric. And then like, some people were like, who killed the electric car in like the 90s? GM.
G friggin' M.
And they literally fought the California government, and they just like made appeals for like 2 decades.
Yeah. Just
in time for them to be like, oh, wait. We could have been so rich if we would have stuck to our guns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny. Everyone's like, has everyone forgotten that GM like tried to kill the electric car industry?
I think they did forget, Lyndon.
And now they're just like, hey, all our cars are going to be electric by 2030 or something.
Is that what they said?
I don't know. They're just coming out with a whole bunch of electric cars. That's GM's new thing.
And then like, but isn't all the electricity created by like coal factories or something?
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that? Why can't we use electricity to power electricity?
It's true. There are a lot of coal-fired plants. I have this distinct memory in high school in chemistry. My chemistry teacher was like, in 30 years, how do you think we're going to be generating electricity? And some like, pre-woke girl was like, in 30 years, it's all going to be wind and solar, and it's all going to be green energy. He's like, wrong. And then I was like, in 30 years, our electricity will come from coal and natural gas. And he's like, correct. And we're on pace for me to be right so far.
Yeah.
But
does it help the carbon footprint? Ultimately?
I can't remember.
Lots of little cars are now not producing, but like now we got a big plant producing.
Yeah. Apparently it's a slight improvement. Well, I guess, ideally you get more solar and stuff. More green energy.
Right, yeah.
They keep saying Alberta needs to go nuclear. Start producing all this nuclear energy.
Sure.
Everyone's all weirded out by like Chernobyl.
This big disaster that ruined roughly the same geographic area as Alberta. Actually, I don't even know. I'm just talking out of my butt with that. It's probably around this. It was a big patch of land.
Yeah.
And then the wind and the the fallout sort of spread out all over the forest, kind of ruining it for 100 years.
That was Chernobyl. Didn't even happen in our lifetime.
Yeah. Did you see that show, by the way?
Which show?
Chernobyl, the show.
Well,
miniseries.
They've made a lot of shows about Chernobyl.
Oh, there was a recent one.
I haven't seen a recent one.
Well, you better get your buns onto Crave and watch that, because it is
on Crave?
Life changer.
I wish I knew a Crave subscriber that would lend me their password.
I wish you did too, or you you know what you should do? $20.
It's $20 a month.
$20. It is $20 a month.
I don't have $20 a month.
Yeah, you do.
Not for Crave.
Like, that's for Diet Coke.
That's my Coke Zero budget for the month.
That's my Coke Zero budget. Anyway, it's a good Chernobyl, GameStop.
And I'm just saying, Chernobyl was a disaster in Russia.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was like.
Alberta, it's safe now.
The whole show goes into, and then we got a lot of land up north. We could, if everything went bad.
If everything went haywire and if Fort McMurray became like a nuclear zombie town.
Boo-hoo.
It's like, yeah, okay, we'll take an L.
We're taking
Fort
an L
McMurray.
on
We're not
Fort
putting
McMurray.
plants in Edmonton.
No.
We're putting them up in like High River. Not High River. What's the other one? High Level.
Grand
Put it
Prairie.
in High Level.
Put it in Grand Prairie. Put it in. Is Stettler a place?
Stettler is a little too close. That's central Alberta.
Never mind.
Put it in. I was gonna say Slave Lake.
Yeah, Slave Lake.
But Slave Lake recently had a terrible forest fire or something.
Oh, perfect. That's the perfect place for it then. It's already.
I guess Fort McMurray did too, but no one has any sympathy for that town.
They did at the time.
Yeah.
Now enough time has passed where they're just like, that's what you get for
like,
building so close to
put
a
a
forest.
nuclear plant in this town.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? Probably nothing.
Nowadays, with the technology and the know-how and the knowledge of the Chernobyl mistakes, I think it actually is a pretty. It's just when it goes wrong, it goes real wrong.
Yeah, well, there's the Japanese one.
But that was old technology too, wasn't it?
Well,
Like that was an old plant.
I don't know about that. I know it was right by the ocean.
On a fault line.
So, I mean, that we would avoid here in Alberta.
Yeah. Yo, this is the place to do it.
Yeah.
They probably thought that in Russia too. Like, this is the place to do it.
Well, yeah, and they did it, and it went very poorly, and an entire city was destroyed.
Dude, it's so crazy watching that. I should watch that again. But it's like they kind of go over the whole thing, and there was like procedural errors and all the science of it. Like apparently by trying to cool it too quickly, they actually
like I've seen documentaries about the Chernobyl thing, and they really did it all wrong.
Needless to say, they really did it.
I mean, not surprisingly, because it was a complete nuclear meltdown.
Yeah.
That only happens when you do everything wrong.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is, I think today we could do most everything right.
Much better. I think you're right. I honestly think you're right.
So that's my play for the future. What were we talking about?
What were we talking about? I think we were talking about GameStop.
Right.
So anyway, they did a GameStop, and then the guys tried to bring it up, and then they're like, "No, we gotta bring it down," and then they stopped the trading.
Yeah, you're not allowed to trade.
David and Goliath story, and then they eventually Goliath won, and they stopped trading, and the price went down, and people lost some money, and some people made a lot of money on GameStop.
There's a few GameStop millionaires out there now.
And anyway, here we are now.
And I think it's made retail investing
very popular.
Yeah.
It even
made me want to do it.
It got the bug in me, dude.
And I was like, should I be day trading?
Dude, I saw this guy on YouTube. I got to send you this video. This guy, he's just like, this is how I made, I took $1,000 or $1,500, turned it into $62,000 in a month trading call options. And I was like, huh? That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Trade call options. You just start with some small amount of money that you wouldn't mind if you lost it,
But there's no commission-free apps in Canada.
Right.
And I don't know.
You might have to pay for a service.
Well, I think there's some
they $300 a month sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of commission, and I saw someone Quest Trades added a $20 journaling fee.
Oh.
And that's when I knew I shouldn't get into it, because I don't know what a journal or a journaling fee is.
It's probably nothing.
But they're I think it was $20 a month.
And the finance people are like, you don't know what a journaling fee is?
I'm like, are they charging you to look? To even look at stocks?
To even look at a stock. Yeah, I honestly don't know enough
That's just something that came across my desk.
Yeah.
Quest Trade adding this $20 fee. People were like, no.
Is it going to stop me from trying to Become a millionaire day trading?
I just want to become a thousandaire.
A thousandaire would be nice.
I just want to turn 1,500 into 60.
Dude, look up day trading YouTube videos and you'll watch these guys just make $500 in like a fraction of a second. They're just like, okay, I'm gonna sell this. I think this is gonna go down, and yep. And then it's like literally the price, because it's like up and down and up and down and up and down. It's just like it goes kind of down where they want it to go. They press the sell button.
I heard you don't even have to press the sell button. You like program it in.
Right. You put prices in, right?
Yeah,
and then
you're
when
just
as
like,
soon as it hits,
you're like as soon as it gets to this, sell.
Yeah. And so it's crazy watching this guy. He's like, and I'm done for the day. I made $700 and I'm done for the day. And I'm just like, damn.
Yeah.
But it can go wrong very quickly too. And he's just like, oh, I'm down 500.
Because there's people that the draw I've heard now, people are getting into just regular investing, just buying stock and holding it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't excite me. I want
exciting.
bets.
Yeah.
Now that I know that Wall Street bets is a thing, I was like, I just want to make bets.
I do too.
I just want to day trade options.
I want to take all my back pay and I want to put it on Nokia and send it to the moon. I don't know.
I know some penny traders out there. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, that's okay, I guess.
That's where you can make a lot of money.
Yeah. I know. One Shane, true and faithful listener Shane, was trying to get me to buy in on some pharmaceutical company.
Of course he was. That's how it works.
I know. That's what I told him. I was like, yeah, you're telling all your friends to buy this stock so that you can cash out. I was like, I know how a pump and dump works.
It's called a pump and dump, bro.
I was like, you think I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street?
I am the wolf of friggin'...
I'm the fox of Bay Street.
Yeah. The fox of Bay Street. That's so... Everything from Canada sucks. It's always a little worse.
Yeah. See, that was my question, because everyone is complaining about in Canada how hard it is to like buy U.S. stocks, trade in the U.S. market. I was like, well, shouldn't someone, maybe this is what we do. Can't we just develop like the Robin Hood of Canada for trading on the TSX? I'm sure you can get rich day trading on the TSX, can't you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's like, wouldn't it be easier than trying to buy and sell American stocks if we just stayed in Canada?
Well, if I do recall my one finance professor saying something about...
the TSX is a joke.
Well, not that it's a joke, but you're just not exposed to... I mean, the worldwide market really opens up your exposure and your growth potential, you know. You're missing out on gains if you're not investing in, like, third world places, you know, places where the growth is sort of up and coming. Canada's very, like, established, right? Like, it's like, what are you going to invest in, like, TD? Like, it's a mature... sort of buy and hold sort of a bank, but if you really want those gains, you gotta go to friggin' Argentina or friggin'
you gotta trade on the world
Colombia,
market.
dude. You gotta go to South America. Those are the developing countries. These countries that are coming up.
Okay.
What do I know?
According to a lot of our listeners, we don't know a lot.
Fair.
But you know what?
Fair enough.
Sometimes I like talking about it.
Yeah, it's fun to chat.
Okay, I feel like we've been stalling too long here.
Okay, we just got sidetracked. We can just talk and talk, can't we?
Okay, Gina Carano. Fired. I mean, what's up with that?
Well,
I feel like we were on the Gina train.
we love Gina.
The official stance of this podcast was we like her.
I love Gina, dude. She's a sexy lady who kicks butt and takes names, and I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I want to see more of that, but they're like, nah, get rid of her.
She
Republican.
Yeah. Conservative.
Likes Trump.
Does she?
I don't know. It's yeah, see,
this is the thing. They're like, she's a transphobe. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And then it's like, is she? I don't think she is.
she's got very like well, it's just like in this day and age.
And then,
if you're not on the train of sort of the woke train. If you're not exactly woke narrative, you are a heretic and you must be cast out.
Unless you're China.
Unless you control enough of the global market that affects Disney's bottom line, those Uyghur Muslims can rot in hell for all we care.
Yeah, whatever makes the mouse his money is the correct politics. So Republican conservative politics doesn't make the mouse money.
Dude, what are they thinking? Like, don't they know that like enough rednecks, I guess they just don't want to be seen to be like but they're already being seen to be like in support of, the Chinese government, who, is acting out right now the closest thing to a Holocaust that is happening in the world today against those Muslims.
Do you hear Joe Biden?
No.
He's just like, China has its own cultural norms. And I'm just like, yeah.
Mr. President. That's my president. Yeah, man. I mean, it is pretty crazy what they're doing to those poor Muslims in China, and Disney isn't saying anything about that. In fact, they're like,
we'll come film Mulan in the exact same province.
Yeah, and they're thanking the government.
And then China won't
in the
air
credits.
And they didn't even air the movie.
Really?
Yeah, China censored it, or they played the movie. They took out all the promotional detail, for Mulan in China. The Chinese government was like, no. Because the actress that plays Mulan was pro Hong Kong or something. I don't know what she did. She did something. She took some stance, either I don't think we should put the Muslims in concentration camps, or I think we should give Hong Kong the free. Whatever, she said something, or Tibet. I don't know.
Sure.
She took a stance against one of the many atrocities, or cultural norms. Some say atrocities, some say cultural norms that China commits.
Yeah.
And so China was like, no. So they took out they still aired the movie in China, but they took out all the promotion for Mulan. Yeah. Which is why they had to panic and sell it to everyone on Disney Plus.
Dude.
So, I mean, it's China. Disney is just please, China.
What are they doing?
We'll do anything to make you happy. But then it's one of their actors is oh, I think being a conservative in America is hard. I think conservatives get persecuted. They're like, that's it.
Well, what was Gina actually saying in the tweet that actually, I mean, we were making the argument before that she had said some things about the voter fraud. She said, let's make sure that there's no voter fraud. Let's make sure that, the voting is being filmed, that it's being checked, right? That sort of thing. She said that back in election time. And then she said something else sort of conservative-based. I forget what, but...
I know that the transphobe thing was someone, they're why don't you have your pronouns in your Twitter bio?
Right.
And so she put beep, boop, bop, which we're not supposed to laugh at. But it's they're harassing her for not having pronouns in her Twitter bio.
Beep, boop, bop.
So she puts beep, boop, bop. And everyone's she hates trans people. I was maybe she hates putting pronouns in her Twitter bio.
Yeah, maybe she hates people bullying her into doing who cares?
People are fall in line with the rest of us on Twitter.
Right think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then she's man, this is Nazi Germany. But here's the thing. So when she compared America to Nazi Germany, that's when she was publicly fired. But the thing I heard was that she'd been fired months ago, and they just hadn't said anything.
Oh, interesting. So
it's she was off the show already.
Ooh.
And the NDAs and all that. So it's she's been done with Disney for months.
Is that confirmed, or is that just a rumor you heard?
That's a rumor that no one can confirm nor deny.
Right.
And that after this happened, they were just this is a good time to say that she's no longer with Disney.
Right. Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, it's
And then some people are like, can you believe she wouldn't just fall in line to keep her amazing job? Wasn't that amazing, apparently?
really
Well, it said she made 25 to 50,000 per episode.
pretty good.
So, well, she didn't even make like $1 million in that role.
Not even I mean, like now I'm getting into like I would take 50,000 to play around in a Star Wars show. Come on.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's like a reoccurring cast, right?
That's true. I mean, like I guess by
it was
industry
like,
standards,
And it was like the
maybe.
#1 show in the world for a while.
It's like maybe you're right. Maybe like to renew her contract would just be too expensive, and they're trying to like let's just cut her out.
Yeah, so it's like they're getting a bargain.
Yeah,
because it's like I don't know, I don't know what the range is. Like obviously you get paid by, because what was like what did the people on Friends make? Weren't they making like 5 to 10 million an episode or something wild like that?
I don't know about that.
I know they're getting paid like in the millions per episode.
Millions per episode, yeah.
Or like the lady from Grey's Anatomy in the millions per episode, and they had like 18 seasons.
Well, those shows are sort of designed around there's 100 million commercials in them, and they run forever, and they never change, and you know those types of shows like Big Bang Theory, Friends. I think Seinfeld was getting there too.
That's true. I guess we don't have any modern examples of shows where people. Well, Grey's Anatomy is pretty modern.
Grey's Anatomy,
well,
Big Bang Theory,
like 20 years ago.
Mass general appeal shows where, you know, that's why advertisers love them so much, is because they're not really offensive. They're not, you know, no one's making anything that's
big network shows.
Big network. You can put all the dollars in there. Lots of people love it and watch it. But these little sort of, dude, I don't even know how the model works with like these streaming services. Like, how do they know if something is successful, or like a Netflix will just dump millions and like, do you remember when Netflix had like House of Cards? I think that was kind of it for a while as far as like original program. Like they had like 3 shows that they were like, whoa, House of Cards was nominated for an Emmy. Like,
was House of Cards completely Netflix?
Yeah.
Like from the beginning, and they didn't just take it over?
No, it was complete. It was a Netflix original. It was a remake of a British show, but
yeah,
you know, in its form, it was all Netflix and David Fincher. But now, and then there was a moment where it's like, oh, there's another show, and then now we're in this just a flood of different Netflix shows, and
it is interesting because Netflix. The CEO of Netflix just did an AMA on Reddit the other day, and I read through it a little bit. But that would have been an excellent question to ask him.
Yeah.
Because obviously, at some point, licensing shows that people love is kind of like... But now it's like... Because they always have to raise subscription fees in order to finance all their original programming. But they don't advertise. So they know... what people are watching.
Yeah.
So they know, so like Disney knows that like most of the things that, you know, most of the views on Disney Plus are The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And they can probably track that this percentage of people cancel their subscription when The Mandalorian is done. And so that
80%.
Yeah. I don't know why. WandaVision. Friggin' MCU coming to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But, so it's like Disney's like, yeah, we're charging people $7 a month. It's all for The Mandalorian, which is original programming.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what their costs is and how they decide that Gina Carano gets 25 to 50. I assume Pedro's getting paid a lot more.
Yeah.
But at some point, do they have to say, listen, we're carrying like the entire... Because I know that was like a Netflix thing where they would like cancel a show after 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, or like the 4th season, the actors all wanted more money. So they're like, cancel it. Let's just make a new program.
Well, I think part of it too is like with Netflix, it's all very like algorithm driven. And I think you see it with a lot of the new shows that they start to make, and especially like the movies that they make too. Like something about Extraction to me seemed very like, just algorithmy, like just a mishmash of different like, okay, so we got Chris Hemsworth, popular, action, popular, friggin'
Oh yeah.
And then it's like it's based in Pakistan or India or something. I think it's India.
Yes, that sounds very familiar.
And then so that's like a huge audience. They probably want a big demographic they want to hit, right? And then they even have this Indian like hunk movie star in there, sort of along with Hemsworth. And so it's like there's some good action in there, but it just like to me it just is very like
That's something Scorsese would not call cinema.
I guess so, yeah. Like there's something about it that is more
Because as you know, I was thinking
market driven,
Right, because I remember him like tweeting out there like, "Oh, Extraction is like the #1 movie in the world right now," because it came out during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I watched it. It was, I guess, kind of soulless. I don't really remember it. I remember that Chris Hemsworth was in it, and it had lots of action. I like the bridge scene. The little bridge battle reminded me of like a video game.
Yeah, I liked all the sort of realistic, tactical stuff. I really love that. But
yeah, it's like a computer wrote the movie
based on what it analyzed, sort of general market trends, and there's just something about that is a little bit like, where's the, like we were just watching The Godfather, and The Godfather, like I had it on, and it's a great example of a film. I mean, the original work, by Mario Puzo, but also like the screenplay and directed by Francis Ford Coppola. It's a very, the idea of the auteur filmmaker as a singular vision and a singular sort of personalized vision for a film. And you were even talking about Steven Spielberg and how like he wanted to make the beginning of Saving Private Ryan was a very like the bloody depiction of D-Day, and the producers wanted to be like, we can't have that. And you mentioned that like women were walking out in the first 15 minutes of that movie in droves. And so it's like the smart market algorithm thing to do.
The studio executives are just like, this is not going to play well.
Yeah. But the artist, the director, the auteur in that situation is going to be like, no, it has to be this way because it's the creative choice that just feels right, or it's just, So, and I think right or wrong, I will say right or wrong, those decisions can be good or they can be bad, or people can like it or they can not like it. But I think that's what makes it a human. That's the human touch in a film.
Yeah. See, the apex, the pinnacle of my economic education, my like senior level econ class was economics of the movie industry. Best class I took in economics.
I think I tried to take that.
Yeah, so that was my senior level, and I was just like, I took it too soon because it did not have streaming services in there.
Oh.
So when we talk about like the traditional, studio produces it, there's a distributor to the theaters, that whole like classic movie model, which is mostly gone now.
Yeah.
It's like that is what I was trained on, and that's how I could understand the economics. But now it's like Netflix, and it's like I don't even know.
It really is all out the window.
So that whole conversation arose from how does Disney decide how much to pay Gina Carano?
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's out. The one funny thing I saw is, people like the Twitter bros is the exact same account complaining. They're like, oh, Disney's so woke, bringing in this tough chick.
Yeah.
Like they were mad that they cast a woman to play like this warrior.
Yeah.
And then they like screenshot that tweet. And now he's like, I can't believe Disney fired Gina Carano. So it's like, yeah, the Star Wars fan base. Sometimes they're the worst.
A wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Where, yeah, it's like, we hate that this woman is playing a hero role until we learn that the woman shares our point of view.
Now we like her.
Now we love her.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so the rumor I heard, she's just straight up getting recast.
Damn.
The next time we see Cara Dune, it's just going to be a completely different actress, and they're just going to pretend that Gina never existed.
They can't do that. They can't do that.
Or are they going to have an opening title screen? The one that's like, Cara Dune died in her X-Wing.
Somehow. Oh yeah, have you seen that meme of like it's Poe from Rise of Skywalker and like the actual line is like Palpatine has returned somehow.
Yeah.
And they're just like Cara Dune is dead somehow.
She didn't make it.
She didn't make it.
They're going to like CG, they're going to Snapchat filter her face onto a body double as it like gets blown up by the wolf guy, Dave Filoni's fighter.
Yeah.
They're gonna blow her out of the sky, and they're gonna be like, "No, Cara Dune."
Did you ever see that South Park where the guy that Isaac Hayes, I think was his name, the guy that played Chef, was a Scientologist, and he didn't like how they depicted Scientology, and so
he was very upset.
He left the show, and the way that they killed off Chef was in the most like humiliating and like gruesome way. Like, oh no, he's dead. Like they absolutely eviscerated the character.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do that with Cara Dune.
Yeah, no, I heard they just, because it's like,
they're like, nah, they'll just
because
recast her.
I don't know. They're saying like
she
was in for like a big payday because she was
race now.
Supposed to go into like the spinoffs.
Yeah.
So she was supposed to get main cast.
Rangers of the New Republic was going to be like her.
She was going to be main cast in that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe they were like, ugh, we don't want to pay her. I don't know.
Here's the thing. She needs to be quiet. She needed to be quiet. It's like enough. Just take the paycheck. Take the paycheck.
Yeah, I guess my thing is, it's like, I don't care what any of them are saying on Twitter. Now, I suppose I'm like the minority, maybe.
I don't think so.
Because it's like, I think like Pedro said something on Twitter that people didn't like.
2018.
And I was like,
see,
I don't follow these people. Why do you even follow them on Twitter? Who cares what they have?
Who has Twitter?
I have Twitter, but why would I follow the actors? Why would I care what Gina Carano has to say? I care about her acting, her portrayal of.
I care about Cara Dune.
Yeah.
Not Gina Carano. Just kidding. I do care about Gina Carano.
I mean,
Gina, if you're out there and you're listening.
But I mean, I don't care about her opinions. And that's the thing. It's like, I was like looking through all the things, and it's like, yeah, I guess I'm not like, oh, I believe everything she said. I'm just like, I don't really care for what she said.
Even if they were despicable views.
I guess the point is, it's like, I'm not a canceling guy. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, even like Tom Cruise, like he's a Scientologist. I still love those movies, man. Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
I'll watch every single one of those.
Yeah. And
I love it.
Who's the guy that played Two-Face?
Harvey Dent or freaking
Aaron Eckhart.
Eckhart, yeah.
He was a Mormon.
That's right, yeah.
And I didn't care for him as an actor. We shared a common belief set, and I didn't think he was that great.
Yeah. You don't like him?
He did okay as Harvey Dent. I mean, he did other movies, and I was like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Did that like Battle Los Angeles.
That was okay.
Yeah, they were like, let's get this guy. He was in Batman.
He's like a less handsome version of Jamie Lannister, kind of.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, yeah.
So there you go.
There you go. There it is.
I'm not here to promote Aaron Eckhart because he's a Mormon, or was.
No.
So there you go.
There you go.
Leave people's beliefs out of their profession.
Can we just like, all these actors, here's like a little, it's like, stop talking. Stop talking when there isn't a script in front of you. Do you know what I mean?
It's like when they told LeBron, just shut up and dribble.
Like,
shut up and act.
Shut up and act. I mean, like,
I guess they can't help it because it's like they get famous and now they have an audience.
They get famous, they have an audience, and it's like they're getting
I'm not in
attention.
that audience. The only audience I'm in is for their acting.
Yeah, and then they get this big, like, I better say stuff. People are listening. It's like, nah, just shut up. Just shut up and take the money and say the lines, hit the marks, and after you got enough money to say F you to Hollywood, maybe she does. I don't know. Probably not though.
Well, I don't know. Ben Shapiro's putting her in a movie.
That is, I don't.
I don't even know if this is real. I saw like a Dave Rubin tweet where he's like, "We need to start making our own media." I was like, "Is Dave Rubin?" And I thought Dave Rubin loved like wokeness or something.
No, he completely went the other way, and then like the intellectual dark web disowned him, and everyone hates him now. There's this. He himself put out this clip on YouTube that's like, everyone hates Dave Rubin. And it's like Joe Rogan, Brett Weinstein, all these, Sam Harris. They're all like, he's gone insane. And he kind of has. And he was always the...
Well, it sounds like he's with Ben Shapiro on this one.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, well,
there it is.
Sorry, Dave.
Dave, sorry.
So the tweet was real. Where he's like, we need to take back storytelling. We need to make our own.
She's going to direct and star in a movie or something.
I know. Someone said she's going to be on like Joe Rogan promoting like cave woman fitness or something, which I laughed. I was like, that is funny. It's also a little rude. It'll probably happen. Making fun of Joe Rogan and those kind of people.
Yeah.
It's like cave woman martial arts fitness. She'll be selling some like supplement.
A supplement will be coming. Do you think people buy supplements from celebrities?
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
I've seen it happen firsthand.
What's the craziest thing you've ever bought? What's the thing you bought and you're like, what am I doing?
Well, I mean, this is an example. I have no regrets. Well, I have small regrets. Remember that one time I came in with my little Dr. Disrespect shaker cup with the Dr. Disrespect beverage?
Yeah.
I love that shaker cup.
Uh-huh.
The drink was not bad, but it also was not good.
Okay.
But did I buy the Dr. Disrespect G Fuel Collector Edition? You better believe I did.
So you have no regrets though.
Well,
but there was a moment where you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, where I saw like the price and I was like, that's not a bad deal, but it was in US. Right. So it was a bad deal.
Bad for you, yeah.
But no, I love that shaker cup.
Okay.
Jasmine loves it too. She's always stealing it from me.
You have no regrets about it.
But yeah, did I buy that purely off of my love and fame of Dr. Disrespect? Yes.
Fair.
Did I almost buy like his $60 sweatpants? I was very tempted.
Trying to think of the thing I bought.
I think he's got like $100 Violent Speed Momentum hoodie. Ooh. And I was like, I want that. I want that hoodie. But it's like, $80 American.
Your birthday's coming up. Isn't it?
It's in the spring.
May?
Yeah, it's in May. Jasmine, buy me Dr. Disrespect merchandise.
Do it.
What's the wildest celebrity thing? You were probably like Goop's #1 subscriber. You're like, Gwyneth, give me that candle, baby.
As long as I get FaceTime with Gwyneth, I will buy anything.
From Goop.
Let's see. I went through like a phase where I was trying to make like an online store or something.
I remember that.
And so
I liked that phase.
It was kind of a fun little phase.
I got that cool hat.
Yeah. So I bought a lot of like internet based, like a website. Like I started a website for it, and that's always just kind of throwing money down a drain. And then it's like, I think I paid for advertising once for, I think, this podcast on Instagram because I just wanted to see how it would.
Oh, remember when this podcast had a website?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had a friggin' website. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you learn the lessons, though. I honestly wouldn't make another website. I think it's like an Instagram page is good enough.
Yeah.
A YouTube page, a whatever page, one of these free things. Unless you want to sell the merch, then you need a website.
Yeah.
but we don't have any merch. And
But yeah. So will I buy Gina Carano's supplement that she comes out with inevitably? Yeah.
I don't think you will.
To support freedom of speech?
Hell yeah.
I think so. Will I
Freedom
to
of
to
speech.
support uncancel culture? You better believe I will.
I'll watch the movie, whatever that happens to be. I don't know what it'll be.
What's Ben Shapiro's company called?
Daily Wire?
Daily Wire. They produce movies?
I guess there's already one out. They already have a movie out.
Well,
That's what I was told.
good for him.
Don't know what the movie is. Dude, there's so many movie like companies, production companies.
But yeah, I suppose if Gina Carano is in a movie made by Ben Shapiro, I have to watch it.
Yeah. Dude, you know what's crazy is Hallmark movies. Do you know these Hallmark movies?
Yeah.
Same formula every time. It's like sort of this comforting little, it's like a handsome man and a beautiful woman, and they're just,
Yeah.
they're out of luck with love, and then they find each other, and then by the end they're
Mm-hmm.
like, they just churn those movies out, and it's like these disposable films. And
Yeah. No, I know a guy. I actually went hunting with him this year.
should we do that?
He works in the movie industry, and he says Hallmark films are the worst to work on because they have zero budget.
Yeah.
And it's like they're trying to churn out the cheapest movie possible.
Yeah.
So it's like nothing. If something goes wrong, it's just out of the film. Because there's no money to do anything. So
No
it's like they're the
reshoots.
worst movies to work on
Yeah.
because they have to make 1,000 of them a year.
Dude, imagine being like, you're in Wisconsin or whatever, and you're like, I'm going to go out to Hollywood. I'm going to make it in the movies. And then you go out to Hollywood, and then you become a star in Hallmark movies.
Mm.
Would you be happy with that?
As someone who's happy acting in Mission Story sketches, yes.
I have a point to make, Lyndon.
Okay. No, I'd be totally upset. That's not my dream.
No, I'm not saying you have to change your opinion. But I saw this video on YouTube recently. This YouTuber was talking about how Instagram was ruining his creativity. Why are you trying to distract me with Grogu now?
No reason. I'm just there. He is.
just there he is.
He's
listening with his big ears.
He's been out of the podcast. Bringing him back.
He's like, so this guy did this experiment essentially, or this, little thing where he posted every day for 30 days. And the picture that was creatively the most intriguing and the most like beautiful of the photos, and like the lighting and the editing and the composition, it was like a house on like a sort of a house on a wooded hill sort of a thing. Very beautiful photo. It got like the least amount of likes. And the one that got the most amount of likes was just like his fiance against like a city backdrop. And the point, he was like, it's incentivized, like the algorithm incentivizes people to like post faces and people and stuff. And then he mentioned this Instagram account called Insta_repeat. And it's like, it takes the same like images that people take over and over and over and over again, like and like across like hundreds and thousands of people will take the same picture, right? It's like everyone takes the picture of the Calgary Tower from like this angle or whatever, the Eiffel Tower, and or they go to a certain mountain structure and they always take the same photo. And so this account takes that picture and it like duplicates it across all the iterations it's been made, and like that's the picture. And the point he was making was like, you should take back your own creativity. You should not make things simply to please an algorithm or what an algorithm thinks an audience will want. Like, your creativity should be it should be rooted in your own love of creating the thing. It should not be like, well, in order to get people the likes, it's like you have to, no, forget all that. You got to do what you want to do. Like the passion is, you have to be the auteur Go against the algorithm. Be the artist. Be creative and be original.
Did you have you ever seen Ingrid Goes West?
I never have, no.
Well, it's with the People's Champ Aubrey Plaza.
Nice.
And it's basically like the pathology of Instagram. So, like, as you're talking, it just reminded me of that movie because where she just copies. She literally will find an Instagram influencer and she'll, like, see which restaurant she goes to. She'll go to that restaurant and take the picture of the same meal and just, like, try to do exactly what these influencers do. And then she starts stalking them and injects them herself into their life. But then, like, those Instagram influencers are, like, artists. But then it turns out they have to deal with the conflict of selling out.
Yeah.
And how they're just in it for the likes. And they've, like, let their art die. And it's all fake.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Ingrid character is, pathological. I think it's a good one.
I
watched it.
That.
I watched it, because I'm, on a break from practicum. So I had time during the day and I watched it.
Yeah.
And it's Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec.
Sure. Love it.
And yeah, it's basically a movie about the pathology. Oh, and Wanda. Wanda's in it.
Friggin' what's her name?
Olsen. Not Mary or Kate.
Elizabeth.
Or Ashley.
Elizabeth.
Not Mary or Kate or Ashley.
Mary
the famous
Kate.
Olsen triplets.
Mary and Kate and Ashley.
Yeah.
Elizabeth. Yeah. I'm loving WandaVision. At first I was like, how long can they do this little TV show bit?
Hey, that's fun. They didn't do it for very long.
And then it got kind of more interesting, and now I'm hooked.
I mean, they did that big reveal.
Yeah.
And I'm still confused. Because, I mean, I know because you're always like, hey, just watch it and let it be explained in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Where so many people want to, like, back up and be like, oh, well, Fox owned the rights to the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah.
But also Marvel still also owned the rights to the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which is why Quicksilver is in X-Men, which was owned by Fox, which gets tricky because then Disney bought Fox. So
they got it all now.
So it's tricky because there's two Quicksilvers.
Yes.
And people have always been talking about when is the MCU going to cross over with X-Men. So as we know, Pietro Maximoff or whatever, son of Magneto. Isn't that Wanda and Pietro? Aren't they the children of Magneto?
In the X-Men
universe.
Yeah. How are they going to do that? Like, is Magneto just going to show up?
So when Elizabeth Olsen teased the big cameo, I know some people are like, "Oh my gosh, is Magneto going to show up?" No. So then the X-Men version of Quicksilver shows up. So she's like, "Oh, it's my brother. He's not dead."
It was wild.
Because in the MCU, he's dead. He's killed by Ultron.
Yeah.
And so then it's like the X-Men version of Quicksilver shows up, and she's like, "Oh, look, it's my brother." And then they're like, even, Kat Dennings, I don't know what her Marvel character name is. Kat Dennings, like, she recast her own brother.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's getting a little too fourth wall-y, where it's like you're dealing with like intellectual property of studios. Except that like this actor played Quicksilver in X-Men. And now, so this is, everyone's like, oh, it's how they're crossing over the X-Men universe and the Marvel universe. Yeah. Except that it doesn't make sense and they haven't explained it.
They will.
I hope so.
We got 3 episodes left, I think. One of them is tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I felt like I thought I missed 2 weeks and I was going to watch like 2 episodes today, but there's only 1.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait. I think it's going to they might still bring Magneto in. Man, imagine how
I mean, the stupid spoiler, I already saw Spader is in the cast.
Why would you tell me that? I didn't see that.
Well,
now you've spoiled it for everyone.
He's on the cast list.
Well, I didn't look at the cast list because I don't want to be spoiled.
It's going to be a flashback, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're probably right. No more spoilers, though.
It's not my fault. There's like, oh yeah, he's in the cast. Why would they say that?
Because he's in the movie.
It's like if Mandalorian was just like, oh yeah, Mark Hamill is a cast member. You know, you got to keep that under wraps. They just freely published that James Spader, right?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, James Spader, he's in the cast list. It's like, what? I was like, don't do that.
Dude, I wonder what's gonna happen on this show. Like, it's. I love it because it truly has me guessing. Like, and I don't know where it's going, and I love it.
Well, it's good because like they've kind of like broken it down where they're like, oh yeah, the entire town is, you know, it's all fake. Wanda's doing it.
Yeah.
And then Pietro, who we have no idea how he's there or if he's even real.
Who is he? Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, it's my brother Quicksilver.
Yeah.
But he's the X-Men version from an entirely different universe. And he's like, Wanda, how'd you do this? How is this all possible? She's like, I don't even know.
I like how they're really building up just how powerful Wanda is.
Yeah.
Like, they're really just like, because he even says that in the episode, right? He's just like, it's one thing to like make someone think a little nightmare or like a little red shooting out of your hands or whatever. But this is like, here's what it's kind of cool about it. It's the difference between, like, you know how magic in Harry Potter, a lot of like the magic fights in Harry Potter are like, you point the wand and then like the little stuff shoots out of the end of the wand.
And if you're real good, you don't even have to say the spell, you just think it.
Yeah, and it's almost like a laser gun.
Yeah.
It's like pew, 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 pew. This is
like
such
a gunfight.
Yeah. This is such a cool, and they were sort of doing that with Wanda's powers where it's like laser, you know, like energy beam. But this is such like an interesting way to depict just how powerful she is. And it's like a really cool, creative, it's like she's controlling an entire town and like
and altering reality.
That's
and
so
like
cool.
altering the matter. That's
yeah.
They're like, she's not like changing people's perception. She's like literally changing matter into her own reality.
Yeah.
That's neat, I guess.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
I like when shows sort of take the extra thought to display a power in a unique way, and I think the show's doing a great job of that.
But speaking of multiverse, isn't that the next Doctor Strange movie?
It is, yeah.
So they're just,
dude,
I'm not a fan where they're like, we're bringing in, you know, I can handle it in Rick and Morty because that's the premise of that show.
No, come on.
When you get into Marvel.
No, Marvel is so spacey and like, that's what Doctor Strange, I mean, like, Guardians of the Galaxy set up like sort of the space side of the Marvel universe. And Doctor Strange set up the mystical, the magical side of the universe. So it stands to reason that, all of this could be possible. That's the thing. They laid the groundwork pretty well. We're like, this is possible. There's a precedent for it. The other thing too.
Well, Thor was very spacey.
Spacey and magical too, the new Spider-Man movie that's coming. That is going to be like, apparently Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in it. And it's like, what is that movie going to be?
Because, they've already done the Spider-Verse to where there's like, oh yeah, there's Spider-Man in multiple universes.
Yeah, they're going multiple universe on us.
Which I guess makes sense because that's what they do in the comic books.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I'm not a nerd. I don't read comic books.
Dude, here's the thing.
Unless it's Darth Vader comic books.
I still need to read that. Quicksilver in the MCU was, that age of Quicksilver was like young Quicksilver. Like, this was back in like the First Class setting where it was like young Magneto and young Xavier and so I don't know how they're gonna sort of manage the timelines, or even if it's even him at all, or
because they're like, she recast her own brother. So it's like, is she just imagining her brother, a version of her brother? Because it gets real confusing because it's like,
no,
in the MCU, her dad's not Magneto, is it? Is that like the next big reveal?
I think we're gonna see Magneto come from somewhere. I think this WandaVision.
Well, which one? I don't think Sir Ian is gonna suit up again.
No, it won't be him.
It's gonna be what's his face?
Who should
McAvoy. No, he's not Magneto. It's
Fassbender.
As your crush.
my man crush. He's not my crush anymore.
Yeah,
now
you're
it's
on to
Pattinson.
Now it's Pattinson. It's like Michael Fassbender's jaw is nowhere near as square as Robert Pattinson's.
I do love. I miss Fassbender. Where did he go, man? He hasn't made a movie in a long time. Like, what's the last movie? He was like one of the X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix, which I did not see.
Which killed the X-Men franchise.
Yeah. Yo, if he came back with some luscious white hair as like old Magneto, come on. Would you not love that?
That's hard to say. I'm not a big Marvel X-Men fan.
What?
I consume it and I enjoy it, but I wouldn't, fan is short for fanatic. I am not I'm not
a Christian, okay?
I'm only a fanatic for Jesus and Joseph Smith.
Yeah, no, I can't. I'm trying to think of who I would even want to play Magneto. I don't want it to be those. I don't think it should be Fassbender. I think it should be like a new guy. I'm trying to think. Check. No, I can't. I was gonna say Jeff Bridges, but he's got like sort of the silver white hair. Also, he already played someone in the MCU.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It'll just be a different universe.
That's true. Nothing matters anymore.
Yeah, once you open up the multiverse. Yeah, and then it goes full blown, Rick Sanchez. And you have to deal with the fact that nothing matters.
Yeah.
Where they're like, it's like, Spider-Man dies and it's like, well, I've got 1,000 Spider-Mans. So you think I care that, Miles Morales or whatever his name is dead? I got 1,000 Peter Parkers and
1,000 Miles Morales.
I've got an infinite number of Spider-Mans and an infinite number of universes. You think I care if one of them dies? Which, that makes sense because there's never been any real threat in Marvel movies. Everyone is untouchable.
Well, that's the thing with comics. Like, no one's ever really dead. People can die and then they'll, like, come back.
Which sucks. It's like friggin' Palpatine.
It looks pretty... Yeah. It looks pretty cool is that Justice League, this Zack Snyder cut we were kind of talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
It looks kind of dumb, to be honest.
Isn't it? It's just his cut of his own movie again?
Yeah. Because, like, Joss Whedon took it over, and apparently he's on the outs of Hollywood now. It's like a Hollywood gossip.
Didn't he get canceled for being a little touchy
He's
or
a
something?
creepo with Trachtenberg, that Buffy's little sister on the show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Because he did that, right?
Yeah, that was his baby. Remember when he was just like a Hollywood darling? Everyone loved Joss Whedon, created the Avengers.
Well, he did good work.
He did good work until he didn't.
Well, I think he had been doing good work, but I don't know. He was a little molesty, gropey.
Years and years prior. And I guess I don't know if that behavior continued, but apparently he was a real dick on the set of the Avengers, and what was his name, Ray Fisher or whatever, Cyborg, that actor. He was like, he was not a fan of Joss Whedon.
Oh, the guy that got like written out. Wasn't that the drama?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure.
He claimed, wasn't he saying he's like, Joss Whedon is racist?
Right.
And I got written out of the show because I'm black. That was his claim. But I think it's just because he was absolutely
just like,
very unprofessional.
or that Cyborg is kind of a nothing character.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I don't know which one's Cyborg. Is he like the metal guy with the red eye?
Yeah. It just sucks.
He's still in it, isn't he?
He's in it.
But he got like
He's a
written
nothing
out
character.
He got written out of like other movies.
Yeah, like he didn't have a standalone movie. Like his only appearance, I think, is in Batman v Superman, and maybe I think he's in a clip. That little like
at the end where they're like, we need to form some sort of justice
and
league.
he's watching all the footage of all of them. I think he's in that for like a second.
Yeah, they're teasing that he's gonna like be part of the Justice League, and then it's like, nah.
I want to watch the Justice League now. Anyway, and then actually, you know what movie actually rips and I really like is Batman v Superman.
I saw that.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's good, dude.
Better than Man of Steel.
The Zack Snyder cut, it is better than Man of Steel. But the Zack Snyder cut of Batman v Superman is, I would say, quite good. Better than the theatrical. He makes good. I like his like Snyder cuts.
Hey, he said he wanted to make a 7 Samurai film, but 7 Jedi.
Ooh.
And I was like, I'd watch a Zack Snyder standalone film about a town that needs to recruit 7 Jedis to save the day. 7 Jedis that are going to take out the Death Star.
Yeah. There's something.
They're like, Death Star 4.
Yeah. How many Death Stars are we on now? Yeah.
Okay, so that's topical topics.
Yeah.
Star Wars, movies.
Maybe we've
Instagram.
I don't know. Have we covered it?
Mission stories. Oh, my Valentine's gift to my wife. I watched every single Twilight movie with her.
Right.
And I had not watched Twilight before in my life.
Okay. And what did you think of the movies?
I don't think they're very good.
Why? I'm going to take the opposite side of this debate and defend them with my life.
Let's see. What is my problem? Their love doesn't make sense. They have a very toxic relationship. Don't know why they want or need to be together. They shouldn't. I mean, there's many, and then it's like they have to do like exposition throughout the movies. Like every movie, they're just like, oh yeah, the Voltaire, they do this, and that's why this is now a conflict. And it's like, oh, and the werewolves, they won't kill people that have been imprinted on. Didn't you know? Because that changes everything.
Also, and
it doesn't make sense.
In the Capitol, they all stormed the Capitol, and this happened off scene. But everyone stormed the Capitol, and now Colonel Flowers is, he's dead now, and it all happened off screen. What was that show? Is that the same show?
No. What are you talking about? That didn't happen in Twilight.
I'm talking about Belligerent. No, that's not what it's called. Divergent.
Oh, Divergent.
That's not it either.
Another one of those teen movies.
No, Hunger Games, the third one or fourth one. What was it called? Uprising.
Can't get into Hunger Games.
But I mean, like
our criticisms of Hunger Games are well known.
When you talked about,
oh yeah, we were watching Twilight,
the exposition,
and something ridiculous happened, and I was like starting to ask a question, and Jasmine was like, "Pause the movie." She's like, "If you would just shut up, your question would be answered in the next scene." Kind of like Hunger Games, where you and Troy were just asking questions the whole time. And your questions would have been answered if you just kept watching the film.
To comedic effect.
I was like, well, our questions are hilarious. And if a movie is making you ask questions, then obviously they're not doing a good job.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So let me ask you about.
So yeah, those are my big criticisms. My broad brush strokes. My broad brush strokes of Twilight.
Imprinting is what again?
Where werewolves fall in love through imprinting. They imprint on someone, and that's how they love them.
And he
imprints on a fetus.
A fetus. And
oh yeah, there's the whole like pedophilia thing.
Right.
Where like Edward Edward's like a grown A man. He's like hundreds of years old. He speaks Portuguese. He's seen the world. He's so like experienced and mature. But yet he loves a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
That's strange. But they're like, well, his body is 17. But his mind's not.
He's been through things.
His soul's not.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's like, I'm a virgin. Are you? And he's like, I'm 109 years old. I'm no virgin.
He's like, I am a virgin. I saved myself for you. I love how Mormon those movies are too.
Oh, yeah.
And they like, let's save ourselves for marriage. And it's
the only way that we can be immortal celestial beings. While we were watching, I would call vampires celestial beings the whole time.
Yeah.
They sparkle in the sun like the Kirtland Temple, don't you know?
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you could just tell like a Mormon wrote it for sure.
It's all about chastity.
Because they're always like about like...
It's about chastity and older men marrying younger women.
Polygamy. And sort of pre-birth imprinting, and
yeah,
that's a doctrine, right?
Like Jacob was foreordained to be in love with Ruslesme. Relexme. Brismronre.
And I think that's the right one. Brismronme.
That's the one.
That sounds like a meal. I want some Brismronme with that.
Oh, yeah.
With that? That's a side.
Give me a main dish of Jacob.
And a side dish of Brismronme.
Yeah.
On the side.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's going to marry this girl, this child. He's already in love with her.
Yeah.
Because he imprinted.
But the girl grows up fast, though, right?
Yeah, she'll be full grown by 7 years old.
And he's ready to, like, go to
so, you know what?
Their
their little world is beyond our mortal understanding.
Let's not judge it.
Yeah, we're judging it by our human standards.
It's fake, for one thing.
This is a story about vampires, not humans.
Yeah, their ways are not our ways.
We cannot understand their celestial ways.
Let's be clear. In our world, that's wrong.
If Taylor Lautner
evil.
If Taylor Lautner was in love with that child with plans to marry her, I would have some questions. I'd be like, I don't think that's okay. And he's like, I'm going to marry this child.
You'd be like, well,
I need to protect her until she comes of age. He'd be like,
We'd be like, okay, BRB. Kabloom. Give him a new hole in his stomach.
Yeah.
His little vampire body can heal up. He's a vampire, right?
Who
are we talking about?
Jacob was a werewolf.
Jacob was a werewolf.
They don't. I don't think they say werewolves. They just call them wolves.
Do they call them dire wolves?
No.
Lycans?
They're the size of a dire wolf. They're big. Oh, and that scene. Oh my gosh, where the wolves. There's like this intense wolf conversation. It's like these wolves, all CGI wolves, like growling at each other, but they're all telepathically communicating. And I'm like, oh no, this is the worst
Meanwhile,
scene.
Jasmine's just enthralled. She loves it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, and every other woman is just like, this is the best. This is cinema.
And you're just watching CGI wolves like have this like philosophical debate in their minds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, put this, I don't know.
Dude, women love the dumbest things. And that's like
I have no comment.
That's a hot take, obviously.
Yeah, well, I was just like, how these
and
movies,
they would say the same thing
did
about men,
so
I'm
well.
sure.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, you want to watch?
From my
you want to watch the
perspective.
Dollars trilogy or Apocalypse Now? And I'm like,
That's dumb.
Yeah.
No, we love that, and we don't understand why you like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Twilight.
Get it. I mean, she did show me some funny memes.
Hey, that's good.
But it's like the memes are like making fun of the movies almost. I don't know.
It's almost
it's hard
sacrilegious.
To tell. I don't know. It was hard to tell. Like there's so
you
many.
didn't know when to laugh. It was like a test on you.
Yeah.
She was like, "What do you think of this?"
She was trying. Yeah, like
and it's like ripping the movie, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, like
you didn't want to
the baseball scene.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that.
Because there's like so many people who are like, why would anyone watch regular baseball when the baseball scene in Twilight exists? And and I'm just like, it's funny because we all know that the scene is ridiculous, right?
Yeah. Well,
or do we know that?
It's
Are
the
people
classic Mormon question of like, is there going to be sports in heaven? Because everyone's like a super athlete.
But we can only play during thunderstorms. Actually, we don't have to wait for a thunderstorm in Vampire Celestial Heaven.
That's right, because we can play in the sun.
Yes. Yeah, so at the end of our little series, I was like, Jasmine.
Start it up again.
I was like, I don't think these films are very good.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I thought you'd say that. But I watched them all and I kept my comments to a minimum.
I wish I was there with you. Jasmine, have you given any thought to letting me come back and watch a movie with you guys once or twice?
I gave her the pitch.
Jasmine, what do you think?
She's not ready.
I promise to only say things that are really funny.
Let's see. What's another teen
Divergent.
I see.
What did I call it?
Mortal Engines. You called it belligerent.
That's a funny name for that.
Divergent.
Belligerent.
Yeah.
They kind of stopped making them. They're all on like. What about Sabrina the Teenage Witch? You ever watch that?
The Netflix one?
The Satan one? Yeah.
With the Draper girl?
Yeah.
No.
Sally Draper. I watched a bit of it. It's a lot of Satan.
A little too much, huh?
It's like he's a main character. It's like, come on, man.
I don't like that.
Come on, bro. Come on, man.
I mean,
I can't deal with that.
No, I'd rather watch. This was heartbreaking. I was like, speaking of, I don't know why.
Speaking of Satan as a
but speaking of people as main characters, I was so hyped after finishing Breaking Bad. I was like, time to move on to the next great AMC show, Hell on Wheels. Because I was
didn't take to it.
Well, no, they took it off of Netflix.
Oh my gosh!
I don't even know where it is anymore. I mean, they took Mad Men off of Netflix, but then it went to Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. Now I'm like, where's Hell on Wheels? Because I was like, I can't wait. My favorite seasons are when the main antagonist of the show is the prophet, Brigham Young.
The Lord's prophet, Brigham Young.
Well, actually, Governor Young is the main antagonist.
Do they deal with his Mormonism much?
I think they try to stay away from it as much as possible.
Uh-huh.
You know, because that could upset people.
Does he look like Brigham Young?
Yeah. The actor is, fairly decent portrayal. Well, I mean,
I want to see what he looks like.
Don't you remember? Didn't you watch that show?
I never watched it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, they deal with it. Spoiler alert for you.
Okay.
You've never seen any of it, or just like you watched one season?
I started it and then I didn't.
My gosh.
It didn't hook me necessarily.
My gosh, Troy. Yeah. I thought we were kindred spirits. That we both loved AMC dramas.
I do.
With the broken man who's very competent but has a dark secret.
Yeah.
I thought you loved that formula.
I do.
Well, here it is, Mr.
Where do I watch it?
I think it's impossible to watch now.
Brigham Young. Let's check this guy out.
But the main protagonist gets forced into marrying a Mormon girl.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Mormons, Hell on Wheels, season 3 and
4. Yeah, the Mormons and Governor Young are like main characters in the show.
Is this him?
Because as you know, that railroad in America got finished in like Ogden.
Ogden, Utah?
Yeah. So it's like the two railways met in Utah, which is why Governor Young was such a big influence.
I can't tell which one's Brigham Young. Man, that guy's handsome though, isn't he? Main character.
Yeah.
You can never admit when a man is handsome, can you? I have to force it out of you. Pattinson. Fassbender. This guy. Handsome.
So, yeah.
Well,
Hell on Wheels. It's got Brigham Young.
it's got Brigham Young.
So that's a show you should watch, not shows that have Satan in the cast.
Yes. The opposite. Well, Lyndon, I'm kind of tired.
Oh my gosh, it's my bedtime.
I think it's time.
Can you
wrap it up.
Can you wrap it up with a great mission story?
No. You can, though.
Ugh.
You got one in the pipe, I know. You got one in the chamber.
Well, it's not worth retelling. The Twilight story. You know what? Let me tell it.
Tell it again.
Just so that the people who want to hear a mission story hear it.
So that we fulfill our mandate here.
Yeah. The last child I baptized on my mission, 9-year-old Abraham, was an adopted child. And a tradition, a procedure in childhood adoptions is they often get to pick a new name for themselves. Now that they're being adopted, it's like, out with the old. That name was given to you by someone else. Get rid of it. So I baptized little Abraham, and him and all his siblings were changing their names to all the characters from Twilight. So
Jacob.
Yeah.
Edward.
Abraham, I believe, became
Bella.
Jacob. His younger brother became Edward, and his older sister became Bella. And then his other older sister, I think she was reasonable and decided not to change her name.
And another one was like, I'm the king vampire guy, played by Martin Sheen. What's that guy's name?
It's something, I think it's Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen. That's what it is.
Yeah, he's like, I'm changing my name to Aro.
King of the Night.
Yeah. And so that's my Twilight tie-in to the mission. Because that was 2010.
2010.
Peak of the Twilight.
The peak of Twilight.
So I guess, for little Abraham, his life was a mission, and he was reinventing himself to Jacob, because life's a mission.
You're like, his life's a mission, and he did that because life's a mission.
So reinvent yourselves. God bless Twilight.
God bless
God
Twilight.
bless Stephanie Myers.
God bless her, too. Bye.